What's good, everybody? Welcome to the Pull Up and Chat. My name is BJ Mathews, aka B Jizzle. Before we get started, follow us on the YouTube page, the Pull Up Basketball Podcast, Spotify, Iheartradio, TikTok, Twitter, the Pull Up Basketball Podcast. Like, share, subscribe all of our videos. Hit that notification bell on the top of the screen. Get all the updated content on our YouTube page. Let's get it popping. Oh my gosh, what a night last night in the NBA. You know what I'm saying? Had some good stories to come out. You know, LA Lakers, they had Anthony Davis come back from injury. You know what I mean? The Lakers did prevail over the Brooklyn Nets. LeBron James had 33 points. Was unbelievable. He's been great since he's been back with the team. Out west in the Bay Area, you had the Mavericks and the Warriors. The Warriors were able to prevail with the Mavericks being one of the hottest teams in the NBA. But I want to talk about what happened in the nation's capital with the Washington Wizards and the Los Angeles Clippers. To me, that was the game of the night because of everything that transpired. That entire game was crazy. The LA Clippers were able to prevail 116 to 115 on a last second shot by Luke Kennard, the guard for the LA Clippers. But that's not the most important thing. That's not even the most craziest thing. They were down by 35 points in going to the second half, and they were down by 8 points with 34 seconds left in the game, and they were able to win on a last-second shot on a 4-point play on a three by Luke Kennard. Wow. All I have to say is I didn't believe it. I wasn't shocked, but I wasn't surprised. I was shocked, but I wasn't surprised because it was the Clippers, and I've seen them do this before where they've been able to come back from big leads. So the question begs to differ. Are the LA Clippers the deepest team in the NBA? Let's talk about it, boy. So here's what I got to say. Everybody been watching the NBA knows what the Clippers have been going through throughout the entire season. Dealing with injuries from their two best players, Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard, of course, was hurt last year in the playoffs against the Utah Jazz, so he hasn't played a lick all year. Paul George has not been playing for the majority of this season. He's been out for 2 months, going on with his elbow, torn UCL, and he was even missing time earlier in the season. The Clippers have been missing other role players such as Marcus Morris, Nicholas Batum, Isaiah Hartenstein, um, Serge Ibaka, Luke Kennard missed some time. They've been having guys been in and out of the rotation and dealing with COVID protocols as well. So it's like, I feel, to me, in my opinion, the Clippers have dealt with the most adversity all season. Yet and still, they're still in the playoff race. They're still in the top 8, top 9 positions in the Western Conference. With everything that's been going in the midst of that team, they should be at the bottom of the barrel with teams like Sacramento, San Antonio, Houston, New Orleans, Portland. Those are the teams that the Clippers should be at right now with everything they've been going through, but yet and still they found a way to be competitive. And shout out to Coach Ty Lue of the LA Clippers for keeping this team afloat, for making a space for everybody on this team, for everything that they can do positively. He's found a way to make them be competitive, and he is my coach of the year because of what he's had to work with and what he's had to deal with, and yet them being successful. Nobody, in my opinion, has been dealing with more injuries than the Clippers. Nobody in the NBA has had to deal with more adversity than the Clippers. I know you got people missing out. Some players are here and there not playing, but nobody else is missing their two best players and still performing like this. We just got to call it spade a spade. So I believe the Clippers, for those reasons, are they're the most deepest team in the NBA. They've came back from 3 leads for more than 25 points, from down for more than 25 points. They came back from the lead against the Denver Nuggets just 2 weeks ago. They're down by 24. They came back and won. The Philadelphia 76ers, they came back from 26 points and won last week with Joel Embiid, to me, who's the MVP. And then they just came back last night against the Washington Wizards, down by 35 points. They're not only the deepest team in the league, this might be one of the most resilient teams in NBA history. Because we can go back even last season, how many times they came back. They came back against the Utah Jazz last season, and I went to that game live. The Clippers were down by like 26, 27 points in the second half, in the third quarter, going into the fourth. And they fought back and found a way to win without Kawhi Leonard in a pivotal Game 6 in the conference finals. I mean, this team is just, the makeup is just no fight, no give up attitude. No lead is safe with the LA Clippers. And it's weird because, to me, usually when you get down, a team gets down, they tend to quit. They might come back 1 or 2 times, in the a few years, but they're not going to continuously have this attitude just to get down, just to come back up. Even when the Clippers haven't won these games, I've seen them come back even this year against teams like Golden State and Phoenix, where they were down by 20 something points and then they come back and win. And this is without their two best players. I got to keep reemphasizing that because I don't think people understand how great that is. And just think about this is without them when they come back onto the team and they're full strength, because the Clippers haven't been full strength all year. I feel they're going to be the best team in the West. This is just me, in my opinion. I feel they can beat anybody in the West, and I feel like they will because you got Kawhi Leonard. To me, he's the best playoff performer in the NBA. He has the highest winning percentage, and I just think that he's the type of guy who he goes to a different level. We saw this last year with the Dallas Mavericks, what he did. We saw this in 2019 with Toronto. He had arguably one of the most greatest playoff runs that season. We saw it when he went down in 2017 against the Spurs. My opinion, again, this is my opinion. I think he had a chance to beat that Warriors team in 2017 with Kevin Durant because before he got hurt, I was watching the momentum of the game. They could not stop him. Not Kevin Durant, not Klay Thompson, not Steph Curry, not Draymond Green. No matter who was guarding him, they could not guard him. And I think that San Antonio team was disciplined enough and tough enough and championship oriented enough to beat that Golden State team. But that's for another video. When they get back to full strength, they have literally everything. They have shooting, they have defense, they got playmaking, they have unselfishness, they have ball movement, they have the coaching, they have the ownership, they have the management, they have everything across the board. A plus 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 plus. So with all those ingredients, this is a dangerous team you don't want to face in the playoffs. This is a team that I feel if you put them in the 7th seed, and Kawhi and PG have been playing for about a month, they come back in March, they'll play about for like a month and some change, get their feet on them and stuff like that. They could easily knock off Golden State, Phoenix, Utah. I would not be surprised at all. Because I think if they play Golden State, Kawhi Leonard will be the best player on the floor. Even as great as Steph Curry is, if he's not scoring the ball, he's not really impacting the game much. Because even though he can with his ball movement, moving without the ball, he has to be hitting shots. Kawhi Leonard don't have to be hitting shots. He can lock you down on the other end. He can lock you down on the defensive end. Steph Curry, he's a smaller dude, so he's not really going to be asked to lock people down. I think if they face Phoenix, I think that, again, they already have them in their mind they can beat this team. They already proved it last season. They can go toe-to-toe with them without Kawhi. So what you think is going to happen when they bring Kawhi into the rotation? And I saw a game this season when they played Phoenix in L.A. They beat that team. They beat Phoenix by I think 25, 30 points without Kawhi and PG. And still Phoenix didn't have Chris Paul, or they didn't have Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton, but Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton does not equal to Chris Paul, or does not equal to Kawhi Leonard and Paul George and Nicholas Batum. And then Utah, they beat them last year without Kawhi, so I don't think Utah's really a threat in the playoffs. So the West is wide open, but let me hear what y'all got to say. Do you think the Clippers are the most deepest team in the NBA, and do you think the Clippers might even be one of the most resilient teams in NBA history? And if I'm wrong, tell me which team do you think is the deepest. Tell me if I'm crazy to think that they're one of the most resilient teams in the NBA, because this is crazy. But you guys continue to like, share, subscribe my videos. You know what I'm saying? Pull up a seat, pull up a chair, pull up. Peace. Out of here like swimwear.